I've already uploaded my favourite films of 2025 list, so I'm just following this up with a quick rundown of my 20 favourite TV shows of the year. At 20, I've put Only Murders in the Building. This is just a likeable show. Steve Martin, Martin Short and Selena Gomez have great chemistry together and it is consistently funny. This might not have been the strongest series, but it still packed a lot of fun. The cast on this show is absolutely ridiculous though. It is just jam-packed with the biggest actors in Hollywood. One scene this series had Selena Gomez's character sat gambling at a table, and she was sat with one filled with Oscar winners. There was Meryl Streep, Diane Wiest, Renée Zellweger and Divine Joy Randolph. That's probably not even a quarter of how many huge stars are in this. Murder mysteries have gotten popular again in recent years, and this might not be as complex or twisty as the Knives Out films, but it just makes up for it in how likeable it is. Like all the previous series, this ends up teasing a future one, and if the three leads are happy to carry on with this show, I just hope it keeps going for a few more yet. Number 19 for 2025, I put Dope Thief. This was just a really well made show, and Brian Tyree Henry is fantastic as he always is. It is the story of two friends who pretend to be drug enforcement agents to rob people. That is obviously a terrible idea to do, but it is a great premise for a show. I think the series started really strong, but it didn't quite keep up that momentum throughout, but it's still an enjoyable watch. 18 is a change of pace from the big budget high production shows, as we have our only unscripted show on the list with The Celebrity Traitors. I've never seen The Traitors before, and I don't know if it's always this good, but it was just a fantastic cast. Alan Carr was hilarious in this, and seeing him interact with everyone was just good television. At 17, it is Daredevil Born Again. The old Daredevil show on Netflix was fantastic, and I was a bit apprehensive of this as not all recent Disney Marvel shows have been that great. But luckily this just felt like a continuation of the Netflix show rather than a new thing. Charlie Cox is still perfect as Daredevil, and Vincent D'Onofrio is still pretty much the best on-screen Marvel villain there has been. 16 is The White Lotus. This has been a consistently strong show and it continued it again this year. I didn't love it quite as much as the Sicily series, but it was not far behind, and the cast again were all superb, especially Walton Goggins and Amy Lou Wood. For 15, I have put Side Quests. I like the Mythic Quest show. It's probably been one of the most underrated comedy series of recent years, and the best episode of every series tended to be an episode that was not directly part of the main story. They were like a prequel of the founding of the company or a side story of a particular character. Side Quest was like a collection of these mostly standalone stories, and they were all pretty strong. The series does have a lot of the It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia team behind it, but this is a very different tone. It doesn't really have that same nasty edge for the characters. I know Mythic Quest is now finished, but I do hope they are able to carry on this spin-off as it is entertaining. At 14, we have Walton Goggins back again in the list for the final series of The Righteous Gemstones. This show has just been consistently funny throughout. It's always sad when a Danny McBride series ends, as they're always so enjoyable, but then he always goes on and just does another show that's equally as good, so you have no doubt he'll do that again with whatever he does next. 13, there is Black Mirror, and this series was a massive return to form after a disappointing Series 6. The series again was a bit hit or miss, but I did find 2 episodes in particular quite strong. Common People almost hit a bit too close to home for how the subscription world were heading towards, but it was brilliantly acted by Chris O'Dowd and Rashida Jones. Then Eulogy was maybe one of the best episodes of the show there's ever been. I think it might even be my second favourite ever episode, just behind San Junipero. For 12, I've put a show I've never heard anybody else talk about, but it was the final series of Acapulco. This is a show set in the 1980s in a hotel, and it has that fun family quality feel that not many shows have now. I didn't know any of the cast before this, but they were all fantastic. And it is just a comedy show but with a lot of heart, and they nailed the final series. I can see the 2 leads from this going on to have massive careers. Just missing out on the top 10 is Slow Horses. It's been a bit of a theme so far, where there have been great series of shows this year, but they're a bit lower on the list than they probably should be, just because they're not quite at the highs of the strongest series in the past. Despite this not being the best series of Slow Horses though, it's still a fantastically entertaining show, and the chemistry between everyone in it is brilliant. Kristen Scott Thomas continues to be my favourite part of the show as well. Starting the top 10 is Gen V. I think The Boys is one of the best shows of recent years, and this is a worthy spin-off. The first series was a strong one, but sadly there has been some tragic real life circumstances around the making of Series 2. Actor Chance Perdomo tragically passed away prior to the making of this series, and he was just such a huge part of Series 1 and a massive talent. This is an awful situation to be in, but I do feel the show did the best they could in such horrible circumstances, and the series very much feels like a tribute to him. There are several scenes with the cast saying goodbye to his character, but it doesn't really feel like acting. It feels like the actors are actually saying goodbye to him, and it did feel like a nice tribute to what is a huge loss. At 9, it is Series 2 of Peacemaker. I just love this show, and as someone who spent almost 2 decades or whatever John Cena was being the perfect all-American Captain America type good guy in WWE, it's great seeing him get to have some fun and just go a bit wilder. I also love the twist in Series 2. I'll not spoil it, but him being in an alternative universe where it initially appears nice, but you get the sense something is wrong, and then the reveal happens and you find out this is definitely not a good place. It was just really entertaining. For 8, I have put a show that surprised me as it was not what I expected from the title. It is Murderbot. With that title I was thinking something like a future Terminator action fest. Instead, it is a robot who is involved in little battles, but really just wants to watch his favourite TV show. This was funny, and I'm looking forward to see where it goes in the future. Alexander Skarsgård is highly entertaining, and totally different in this than anything I've seen him in before. At 7 is The Chair Company. I said in my best films list that I'm a massive Tim Robinson fan, and how much I enjoyed Friendship, the film, is how much I enjoyed this on TV. It's the story of a man trying to unravel a conspiracy around a mysterious chair company after his chair breaks on stage and embarrasses him. It is surreal, bonkers, and very funny. A high recommend. Just missing out on the top 5 is Series 2 of Severance. This show is great and one of the most original shows in years, and the fact I've only put this at 6 just shows how strong a year it was for TV. The mystery is both growing and unravelling more, and it is feeling intriguing, but you do feel like you're getting somewhere as well. The whole cast are perfect, and I can't imagine anyone else in the roles. And I think for Series 2, the MVP is Tromel Tillman as Milchek, one of the greatest TV characters of recent years. The top 5 is kicked off by a show I only discovered this year, Has Been Hotel. I watched Series 1 and 2 back to back, and I don't think I'm exaggerating saying this, but this show has the greatest songs I've ever heard in a TV show. There are just so many that are like massive Broadway bangers, and I can't believe it just consistently produces songs of this quality. If you haven't seen it, it is the story of a hotel in hell that is trying to rehabilitate its residents, and it's genuinely really funny. The show just all around is just very me. At 4, it is the only documentary on my list, Mr. Scorsese. Martin Scorsese is a filmmaking legend, and this is an incredible look back through his life and career. And the level of actors they have speaking about him, with Leonardo DiCaprio, Daniel Day-Lewis, Jodie Foster, Margot Robbie, Robert De Niro, and more, it's just staggering. It is obviously a must-watch for any fans of Scorsese, but I would also just say it's a must-watch for any fans of cinema in general, especially from the 1970s onwards. Number 3 is the final show I watched in 2025. It is Pluribus. This show has a great premise whereby aliens, or I think an alien virus, has taken over the consciousness of everyone in the world apart from just a handful of people. And it is probably my favourite performance of the year that Rhea Seehorn gives, as she is just incredible in this. I have enjoyed Vince Gilligan's previous shows I've seen. I think Better Call Saul is still currently my favourite of his, but if this carries on at this level, it does have a chance of surpassing that. Just missing out on the top spot is The Studio. Like lots of this list, this is a star-studded show, but it was also just a fantastically well-made one. Episode 2, where it is made to look like it was filmed in one continuous shot, was just incredibly well choreographed, and every episode just looks stunning. Seth Rogen is perfect as a lead, and it's just so well written. I hope this show goes on for a long time. Number 1 time then, and my favourite show of 2025 was The Rehearsal. I have no idea what the budget for this show is, but it must be a staggering amount, and full credit to Nathan Fielder for getting this funding. I loved Series 1 a few years ago, and this just upped the ante in every way. It is a mix of real life and fiction, and blends the two so well, I'm never sure what I'm watching if it's genuinely real. The finale of the series is also jaw-dropping. I can't believe how nervous this show made me feel for a comedy. It's just incredible television, and Nathan Fielder continues to be one of the greatest comedy minds of his generation. That's the list then, thank you for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Cheers.